Hey, what's going on? Welcome to Dire Maul North solo tribute runs for Huntards. This is a video series that covers every aspect of soloing Dire Maul North tribute runs. It's for hunters who have never done this before, hunters who just want to perfect their runs. Basically, the strategies shown in this series are aimed at maximizing consistency. Now, if you've tried Dire Maul North runs before, you know that all sorts of little things can go wrong. We're going to cover as many of those little things as we can, and we're going to try to cover all our bases here, and we're aiming at maximizing consistency. We also take speed into account. Of course, that's very important. If you want to quickly and consistently complete as many Dire Maul North tribute runs as possible, then this video series is for you. So Dire Maul North is the northern section of a larger instance called Dire Maul. Dire Maul itself is inside an abandoned city, also called Dire Maul, which is located in Feralis. Much like how Blackrock Spire can be distinguished as two separate instances, even though they share the same instance space, Dire Maul can be separated into three instances with three different entrances, even though all three instances are connected and share the same instance space. You can enter Dire Maul North and eventually find yourself in Dire Maul East or West if you go through the library and take the right turns. It's all right there. To enter Dire Maul North, you're going to need a key known as the Crescent Key. This key can be obtained by doing a quest in Dire Maul East. There's a video link in the description to help you obtain that key. The video was not made by me. The video was made by Bloody Fox Gaming. Other players can let you in, but I would highly recommend obtaining this key as part of your tribute run preparation because it'll give you access to the north whenever you want and will let you enter the library area whenever you want. Now, being able to enter the library whenever you want is particularly useful because it'll allow you to repair on site and it'll allow you to sell easy access to the library to anyone who needs it. Alright, so in terms of talents, what we're going to go for here is a build that's both viable in Raid and viable in Dire Maul North. So our main goals here are to maximize marksmanship so we can get True Shot Aura, as well as put points into survivability so we can maximize Improved Feign Death. You're going to want Improved Feign Death for obvious reasons in Dire Maul North. You're going to be using it all day, and one resist could cost you the run. It depends on where you get resisted though. There are a lot of places where you can get resisted and still survive, especially with some of the survivability talents we'll be speccing into, but again, Improved Feign Death, really important. So, we're going to start with efficiency. This is going to help us in Raid, and basically, Concussive Shot is just pretty useless for us. Moving on, Lethal Shots, for obvious reasons. Hawkeye is going to help us outrange some boss abilities in Raid, as well as improve our DPS on King, due to the nature of how we fight King. Aim Shot is a must, and we'll throw in one last point in Marksman Shot because Arcane Shot isn't that useful. Mortal Shots is another must, and Barrage is another must. You want that multi-shot damage up, especially if you're using full tier 1, but you're going to want it up either way, let's be honest. Scatter Shot is absolutely vital for our Dire Maul North runs. Throw another point into Marksman, Hunter's Mark. Last, we're just going to throw up on ranged weapon specialization and grab our True Shot Aura. Alright, so for survival, first thing we're going to do is maximize our damages. Because we're going to need to be putting points in survival anyway, but we also want high damage. High damage is more important than these other talents at this point. Go ahead and throw 1 point into Entrapment and Wing Clip just to have that just to have a chance of these going off is nice, but they're not really necessary. Savage Strike's completely useless. You can go ahead and throw up some Parry, just to help survivability in Dire Maul North. That's the only reason. Anyway, you're going to want Deterrence. That is a must-have. And Clever Traps, this is good to have maxed out because we want to maximize our Explosive Trap damage for reasons we'll get into later. Also, having a Frost Trap effects up by 30% is really important as well. Very good talent. Last, let's throw points into Survivalist until we're able to get our Improved Feign Death. And to finish it off, I just like to throw my last 3 points into Aspect of the Hawk because I'm a troll hunter and so whenever I'm using a bow and I have hit rating on my bow, you know, I don't really need any extra hit rating. That's like 6% right there. However, if you're not a troll, you might want to consider getting Surefoot. This increased hit chance by 1% can be extremely useful depending on your gear setup and your race, and whether or not you can afford that hit rating enchant for your bow or weapon. Yeah, it's really up to you how you want to spend the last 3 points. But the main thing that you want is True Shot Aura and Improve Feign Death. Alright, so in terms of pets, I've gathered a tier list here. The first thing we need to know about having a pet in Dire Maul North tribute runs is that their main purpose is to run in, grab the attention or aggro of a pack of mobs, and then run back out as quickly as possible. You want it to move quick, and you want it to take as little damage as possible, but if it does take damage, you want it to be able to survive that damage. With that said, speed is more important than the tankiness of your pet. You really don't want it taking any hits, but of course if it does take hits, surviving is better than dying. Anyway, dash and dive are going to be a must for your pets to be able to learn. All these pets immediately put in F tier are pets that can't learn dash or dive, which would be spider, raptor, turtle, scorpion, gorilla, crocodile, crab, and bear. Don't take these into Dire Maul North. Alright, with them out of the way. Dive is a better move than dash because it makes you go faster than dash does. I believe dash is 40% and dive is 80%. You're going to have our dive pets in the higher end of the tier list with our dash pets in the lower end. These dash pets are viable, but I found that it increases your consistency just to have a faster pet, so I would go with one of these four. We'll get into why boar is in B tier in a minute, but let's start at the bottom. Cat is at the bottom. It can learn prowl, that's not very useful. It learns dash. It has a high attack, but attack isn't important here at all. It has a medium health and a low armor rating, which isn't very good, but can learn dash, so it's not an F tier. As for C tier, these either have medium health and medium armor, or high health and low armor, which both of those combinations are better than medium health and low armor, so they're up in C tier for that reason. Wolf is in a higher position than Hyena or Tall Strider because it can learn Furious Howl, but at the end of the day, Furious Howl isn't that important because your wolf is going to be a little bit further away from you when you're fighting King, and you're not really going to be fighting much else except for maybe some bugs. Alright, so B tier. First of all, we have Boar in B tier because it can learn dash, but it can also learn charge, which can get it in even quicker, and then it can dash out. But most importantly, the Boar has high health and medium armor, I believe. So it's the tankiest of all the dashing pets. So therefore it's the most reliable of all the dashing pets. Moving on, we have Wind Serpent. It's behind the Owl and Bat because Owl and Bat can learn Screech. And Screech is actually a very decent AoE aggro generating move, and that can be useful in certain situations that we'll get into in other parts of the video series. But because of Screech, they're in front of the Wind Serpent, and because of Dive, all three of these are in front of the Boar. But the Boar is still a good contender because it has so much health and armor. Now, Karen Bird is in the A tier because it has everything. It has good survivability, it has Screech, and it has Dive, and that's basically all you want out of a Dire Maul North running pet. I go with the Owl personally, just because I didn't level with an Owl. I just went over to Winter Spring and grabbed a level 59 Owl real quick, leveled that up, and yeah, I was good to go. And that's what I would recommend doing, just because it's quick and easy. But if you want to level up a Carrion Bird, that's probably your best option in the long run. When it comes to beast training, you're going to want to throw most of your points into stamina increases and armor increases, but as far as the three most important nature resistances that you want on your pet, those would be shadow resistance, fire resistance, and nature resistance. Alright, so when it comes to professions, there's only two that you really want to have, and that is engineering and first aid. You absolutely need engineering. You can't get the king without it. You need large Sephorium charges, and you need to be able to use them, and you can't use them if you're not an engineer. As for first aid, you want this because it'll help you survive the fights with king, sometimes choke and get some spells off on you, or your FD can get resisted, and you end up with just a lower amount of health than you would like. And there's plenty of opportunities to use first aid during your king fights, so it definitely highly recommended. Now you still have another option for a secondary main profession. I would recommend enchanting. Due to how many greens and blues you're going to be getting from your tribute runs, Dire Maul North solo tribute runs are actually one of the best places to farm high level enchanting materials in the game, solo farming that is. But you can really have any other profession that you want there, and you don't really need to worry about the other secondary professions. Yeah, that's all that there is to professions. Alright, last up is consumables. So as far as consumables are concerned, you're not going to need too much, but you are going to need a few things. First of all, you're going to want arrows, obviously. But you're also going to want food and water. I like to keep 60 with me at all times. Food and water will be replenished at the tribute chest after a successful run. So if you're good at finishing the run, then you're going to have your food and water replenished at the end every single time. As far as potions are concerned, you're going to want to bring health potions to get you out of sticky situations, and you're going to want to bring lesser invisibility pots. You're going to need to use a lesser invisibility pot on every attempt after a certain point in the attempt where you need to use it, and that's it for potions. The last thing you're going to want to bring is large Sephorium charges. You're going to need these to open a door on the 3rd floor. Once the door is open, it'll stay open, so if you're going to wipe on king and try again, the door will stay open for the next attempt. But if you reset the instance, the door will close and you'll have to open it again. So you're going to want to bring large Sephorium charges for that. That's it for consumables. As far as final tips, watch out for the enemy faction on your way in, and in between the door that you open to get in and the entrance portal, you'll see a torch on the wall. You can touch that torch to open the door from the inside without using a key. That's useful for people who want to leave your instance but who do not have a key. Thanks for watching. This was the first part of my series, and stay tuned for the next episodes.